This is Swampy's Florida with your Man of the Swamp report. And here I'm going to talk about John D. McDonald. John D. McDonald was a writer of great stature in our great state. He was known for writing a lot of pulp novels, as they're thought of also today. McDonald died here in 1986, but he happened to be born in July of 1916. This is celebrating the 100th anniversary of his birth. And I'm celebrating by going back and reading. I read most of my MacDonald books in the 80s. And so I'm right now reading The Drowner. I just finished On the Run. I'm going to try to reread, basically, MacDonald books. Try to read some maybe I haven't read. I never have read Condominium, which is one of his best-known books, which is about a condo that gets ravaged by a hurricane. We'll likely see that happen again. We haven't had a lot of hurricanes recently, but one of these days, this is considered one of his better books. And it's outside of a series that he's extremely well known for. And that series, which I had here a bit ago, is now missing. Well, let me find it here. Oh, here. The Scarlet Ruse. He's best known for a series involving a character called Travis McGee. Travis McGee is a character who was a salvage consultant. What he did was, if you lost something, and let's say you lost this orange, well, McGee would get you this orange back, but he'd take half of it. Yeah. Good wages if the gig is right, as they say. McGee lived on a houseboat called the Busted Flush, which he won. He won because of a card game involving a busted flush, right? McDonald, who lived at Siesta Key near Sarasota, placed Travis McGee on the opposite side of the state in Fort Lauderdale at Slip F-18 Bahia Mar. Slip F-18 Bahia Mar. That location is a real location. You can go there today. Well, almost. It used to be more publicly accessible, a lot less so now, involving all the security concerns we have today. You see, McDonald was such celebrated that a giant plaque was made for him, a National Historic plaque, because of his writings. That plaque was originally at Slip F-18 until the person there said, move it. So it got moved into the harbor master's office. You can go in there. It's just to the left of that desk. Maybe they moved it, but probably still to the left of it. And it's really quite a tribute. If you're a McDonald fan, you should go make that pilgrimage to go see that plaque. Now, McDonald had a lot of fans, lots and lots of fans. And I'll probably do some more talking about him down the road here. That include a lot of other writers, Carl Hiaasen, Randy Wayne White, Tim Dorsey, all fans of McDonald. But not just Florida writers, other writers too, including TV writers. A fellow by the name of Philip DeGuerre. Philip DeGuerre wrote a lot of TV and actually created some series. One of those series he created was called Simon and Simon. Simon and Simon was in a series that was throughout the 80s, had 8 seasons. It was started off, though, because of DeGuerre's love of the state of Florida. You see, the pilot was filmed right here in our great state. And if you watch that pilot, you'll see a lot of scenes that may seem very, very familiar to you, especially if you're down in Everglades City. Everglades City is one of the main filming spots for that pilot, especially at the Rod and Gun Club. Eddie Albert was the star of that pilot, and Eddie Albert and the 2 stars of the series, Gerald McRaney and Jameson Parker, are all throughout Everglades City, including, if you know the causeway from Everglades City to Chokoloskee, there was filming done there, and that area looks nearly identical today as it did then, as the Rod and Gun Club does too. Filming was done in and out of the Rod and Gun Club there in Everglades City. The pilot's very, very interesting to watch. This is the first season of Simon and Simon. But if you want to see the pilot, you've got to go to the second season. You see, DeGuerre wanted this to be set in Florida. Universal Pictures did not. Too expensive, they said, and so the whole series was pulled to San Diego, California. And so Florida was left behind. But what to do with a pilot? Well, they realized they couldn't start the series in Florida, so what they did was they started the series in San Diego. And that's season 1, and this whole series takes place in San Diego. It's the beginning of the second season where suddenly it's a basically flashback where the Simons are thinking back to when they were detectives or started off that way. They're in Florida, and it's a whole flashback. It's a 2-hour special, if you will, pilot. Very good, but it's the second season of Simon and Simon. As I said, Philip DeGuerre, who created all this, was a huge, huge Florida fan. And one way he got to denote that was involving this character, Gerald McRaney. His name on the series was Rick Simon. Rick Simon had a boat, and that boat had a dock in San Diego. And it was docked at Slip F-18. Slip F-18, that's right. You see, Philip DeGuerre was also a huge Johnny McDonald fan. And that was his way to give a nod to McDonald. I don't know if it had been filmed in Florida. I would guess that Rick Simon would have been docked in Fort Lauderdale or some fictitious city at Slip F-18 in Bahia Mar, possibly, which would have been very, very neat. But still, the nods to our great state, subtly as they were, as DeGuerre got them subtly in there as Universal moved the whole thing to San Diego. Very, very cool. And this is a fun series. We don't have lighthearted series anymore. Everybody's dark. It looks like no one turns on the lights. I have more light on in here than most of your TV series have. You ever see those those TV series today? They're there and they're reading a book, and I should turn all the lights off. There's no lights on. Hold on, I'll do that. Let me just get this alligator. It's still light in here to compare. But how are they in the dark reading anything? I don't understand it. But anyway, okay, this is a special Swampy's Florida Man of the Swamp report, and we're focused here on Johnny McDonald. I'll probably talk maybe a little bit more as we get closer to his birthday, and talk maybe a little bit more about some of the other books that he did. And we'll see. Look, I got a lot of these things. I even have books on tape. And oh yeah, I want to tell you too. If you have not read John D. McDonald and you'd like to, and you want to see me at any upcoming events, and you're going to be there, I'm going to be at Pine Castle Pioneer Days coming up. At the February 27th and 28th, I'll be at the Antiquarian Book Fair in St. Petersburg, March 12th and 13th, or 13th and 14th. I'll be at the Florida Springs Festival at the Silver Springs State Park, March 19th and 20th. Or if you happen to see I'm going anywhere or want to see where I'm going and you like copies, I actually have extra copies of these. I'll be glad to give them to you. And so you can discover McDonald. He's a wonderful writer, and how he writes about Florida is extraordinary, just extraordinary. And if you have any questions I can answer, please feel free to email, tweet, send a message through Facebook. Also, don't forget, I'm over at Periscope sometimes. I just, on Thursday, did some periscoping from the Swanee River. Just did a bit more yesterday, and I'm going to be placing those. But if you go to Periscope, you can actually see me live. People ask questions and about different things. I'm glad to answer. So anyway, swampysflorida.com. Our store should be fully up, hopefully by the end of next week, and you can order Swampy's Florida books and prints and everything else. Will be, and not all of them, most of them are going to be available, but appreciate it if you wish to purchase any of those. Thank you very much. This is Swampy's Florida with your Man in the Swamp report, special report for Sunday. Hopefully we'll be doing these weekly and on Saturdays. I'll see you next time. Swampy's Florida. Bye.